Be Wealthy and Smart, episode 1346.
Step into a world of wealth and financial freedom without budgets, boredom, or bosses on Be Wealthy and Smart. And now, here's your host, Linda P. Jones.
Welcome to Be Wealthy and Smart. I'm Linda P. Jones, America's Wealth Mentor, empowering women and men worldwide to financial freedom. On today's show, we're going to talk about 3 people who bought their home in Italy for $1, or rather €1. Now that may sound like an incredible bargain, but of course these were in very poor shape, and this was just the beginning of a massive investment that they had to make in order to remodel the home, put it back into good condition, and in some cases do a lot of basics like get running water or a new roof or even a walkable floor. But I want to share with you this article that I found on CNBC Make It, and just read to you the story from this article because it's so interesting that 3 people actually did this and had a very interesting experience. So it says, for years now, people around the world have been captivated by Sicilian towns selling off abandoned homes starting at €1, or roughly $1.08. Several hundred homes have been sold to curious and ambitious renovators, including Meredith Tabone, 44, of Chicago. She learned in 2019 that a town called Sambuca de Sicilia was auctioning off homes starting with €1 bids. A lot of people warned me that it would be a scam and that I could end up losing a lot of money, she told CNBC Make It. Still, she took up the idea when she realized that her great-grandfather was actually from Sambuca. She placed her bid on a home for €555, sight unseen, and won, thus starting her on a 4-year journey of renovations. From the moment that I sent in the bid and checked my email every day and found out that I won, all the way through the process, there have been 4 million moments of frustration, exhaustion, contemplation of how to move forward, she says. Tabone and other €1 homebuyers share their biggest pieces of advice to other aspiring renovators around the world. First, prepare for additional costs. Sicily's homes may start at €1, but the cost is largely symbolic and just the start of more expenses down the line. In Muso-Meli, one of the most famous €1 towns, buyers must also pay a realtor's fee of €500 and pay for the deed, which costs €2,800. That adds up to a total €3,301, or nearly $3,600. Rubia Daniels, 50, of Berkeley, California, bought 3 €1 homes in Muso-Meli in 2019. So far, she's focused her efforts on renovating her main vacation home. She originally thought it would cost her $20,000, but has already spent $35,000 between materials, labor, and furniture. She hopes to stay under $40,000. Tabone paid €5,555 for her home, plus some taxes and fees, bringing the home sale up to €5,900, or roughly $6,400. She then bought the building next door through a private sale with the owner for €22,000, or nearly $24,000. Over the next 4 years, Tabone spent about €425,000 on renovations, or roughly $463,000. Altogether, that adds up to €430,900, or $469,500 for her dream home in Sicily. Secondly, be present for renovations. Speaking of renovations, though communicating with local construction workers can kick off plans, buyers say it's crucial to be on the ground while the work is being done. Danny McCubbin, an Australian native who bought a €1 house in Muso-Meli, said he's seen quite a few foreigners try to manage their project from their home country. McCubbin bought his cheap Sicilian home in 2019 with hopes to turn it into a food rescue charity. He ended up selling his house back to the real estate agency after it experienced extensive and costly water damage, but he managed to open his charity, the Good Kitchen, elsewhere in town. It's best to actually be here with the builder, choosing the tiles, choosing whatever you need, he says. For the times you can't be there in person, he also recommends finding a local project manager who can speak English and Italian to communicate plans with the local crew. Number 3, have patience. Daniels works in construction and learned quickly that things in Sicily take much longer than they do in the U.S. Working with contractors in Sicily, I had to learn how to set my expectations, but not my American expectations, she says. Have patience to understand the culture and how business is done so you don't get frustrated, she adds. She's been renovating her main home in Musameli on and off since 2020 and is still several months from finishing. Overall, there's plenty of capable people to do the work, Daniel says, but the work here, it flows in a different way. You have to remember this is an island, and they are in an island time, so things just move a little bit slower than what you'd expect. Number 3, visit in the winter. If you're planning to buy real estate in another country, it's best to spend a good amount of time there. And don't only go when it's peak travel season. I always say come for longer than 1 or 2 weeks, McCubbin says, and more importantly, come in winter. In summertime, it's beautiful. It's sunny, the houses, there's no mold in them. You discover in winter that a lot of these houses do have mold. They do have moisture, and it's a very different feel than in the summer. Number 5, learn the language. Tabone, Daniels, and McCubbin agree that it's critical to learn Italian in order to really get around Sicily, especially if you plan to spend part of your year there. Language learning apps and courses are a good place to start, but immersing yourself among locals is another great way to practice. Tabone says she enjoys spending time with Sicilians when she visits. Her first friends in Sambuca included members of the construction crew on her project, who then introduced her to their friends and family members. She also has a close relationship with the town's mayor. She practices her Italian with him, and he practices his English with her. I think I would be extremely fluent in Italian if Google Translate did not exist, she jokes, but I'm very, very proficient at Google Translate. Number 6, don't be lured just by cheap houses. Newcomers to Sicily may be attracted by inexpensive houses, but many say their biggest reason for staying is the people they meet along the way. I always say don't be allured by the fact that the houses are cheap, McCubbin says. Think about where you want to be and where you want to spend your time. Having said that, people here are kind. People here are very friendly. It's a great place to live. McCubbin now lives in Musameli full-time and owns another house there. Tabone says one of her favorite things about Sambuca is how she can connect with fellow foreigners as well as longtime residents. One of the things that I love most about Sambuca is that the community is not just expats who are moving here. It's really well intertwined with the locals and the community. Any dinner party that you go to, even if you just go to a cafe on the street, you will always see a very nice mixture of expats and of locals, and I love that. And that was the end of the article. So very interesting, a lot of wisdom there, and also some exciting ideas, something completely different that you may not have considered before, but might have just opened up a realm of possibilities to you. So I thought I'd share that with you. If you haven't yet subscribed to Be Wealthy and Smart, hit the subscribe button, and you'll be notified as soon as new podcasts are available. And all of my podcasts are on my website at lindapjones.com/podcasts. And while you're there, sign up for my weekly newsletter for more wealth tips for your financial freedom. That's all for today. Until next time, live the good life and be wealthy and smart.
Thank you for listening to Be Wealthy and Smart with Linda P. Jones. Share the wealth and tell your family and friends about the show. Check out our website, blog, and social media for more riches at www.bewealthyandsmart.com.